You're out. Don't come back. We're moving forward without you. That was my mother's voice. Calm, prepared, and final on a voicemail she left at 9:47 on a Tuesday night. There was no fight before it, no warning signs, just a 31-second message. That erased 27 years of being the daughter who paid every bill, handled every emergency, and never once said no. I listened to it twice. Then I texted back one word: okay. What my family didn't understand was that okay was not surrender. It was permission. Permission I gave myself to stop being their safety net. Within 72 hours, the family trust was frozen. The house sale collapsed. Their attorney was leaving messages I had no intention of answering. By morning, there were 46 missed calls and one text from their lawyer that said, "We have a serious issue." I actually laughed and typed back, "I'm aware. My name is Vivian. I'm 27. Let me take you back to that Tuesday night in October. The night that voicemail changed everything." I was sitting cross-legged on my bed in a small studio apartment in Philadelphia, my laptop resting on a pillow, finishing a risk assessment report for a client whose portfolio had more warning signs than a parade. That was my job. I find danger before it shows up. The irony was not lost on me. My phone vibrated on the nightstand. One missed call from Mom, then the voicemail notification. I almost ignored it. My mother rarely called me directly. She called Brooke, my younger sister. The one who still lived 20 minutes from our parents. The one whose name appeared in every family group chat like a headline. When Mom needed something from me, she usually texted only 3 words: "Call me back," or "Send money, please." A voicemail felt different, more serious, almost personal. So, I pressed play. Her voice came through clear and steady, like she had practiced the words in front of a mirror. "Vivian, this is your mother. I want you to know we've made a decision as a family. You are no longer welcome here. Don't come back. Don't make this more difficult than it has to be. We're moving forward without you." 31 seconds. I watched the progress bar to be sure. I played it again, thinking I must have missed something, a reason, a because, a since, even and after what you did. But there was nothing, just the sentence, the judgment, no explanation. I opened our family group chat, the one Brooke created 2 Christmases ago. The one where Mom posted casserole recipes and Dad sent blurry pictures of birds in the backyard. I had been removed. Not muted, removed. And the chat name had been changed. It used to be the Owens fam. Now it was simply us. So that was what I had become? Not us. I placed my phone face down and stared at the framed photo on my shelf. Our family at Brooke's college graduation. Mom smiling wide. Dad's hand on Brooke's shoulder. Me on the far right, half cut off by whoever took the picture. I should have noticed even then. For 10 minutes, I did nothing. I just sat there, with my hands resting in my lap, listening to the upstairs neighbor's television through the ceiling. A laugh track. Someone was watching a comedy while my entire family voted me off the island. My first instinct was the old one. Call back. Apologize. Even though I didn't know what for. Ask what I had done wrong. Promise to fix it. That had been my role since I was 14. Take the blame. Repair the damage. Keep the peace. My thumb hovered over Mom's name in my contacts. But something stopped me. Something inside me finally snapped loose, like a gear that had worn down too far. Maybe it was the tone of her voice. Not angry, not hurt, just prepared. Or maybe it was the timing. I had spent that afternoon recalculating the mortgage payment on the family house. The house I paid for. The house where Brooke slept, in the master bedroom while I used the pull-out couch when I visited. I lowered my thumb and opened our text thread instead. One typed, one word. Okay? 5 letters. I added a period. Then I pressed send. Delivered. No typing dots. No phone call. Just silence. That silence told me everything. She expected me to chase her. To beg. To argue. When I didn't, she had nothing. Prepared for that version of me. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken. That feeling would come later around 3 in the morning, sharp and sudden like a muscle cramp. I couldn't sleep because my brain did what it always does under pressure. It went to work. I opened my laptop and started a new spreadsheet. Title: Family Financial Obligations, V. Owens. Column A. Item, Column B. Monthly amount. Column C. Duration. Column D. Total. I began typing, line by line. What appeared on that screen was the cost of being the dependable daughter, and it was far higher than I had ever admitted. Mortgage on the family house, $1,850 per month. 3 years. $66,600. Health insurance for mom and dad, $640 per month. 2.5 years. $19,200. Brooke's car loan. The white SUV she posted on Instagram with the caption, blessed, $380 per month. 14 months. $5,320. Then the emergencies. Dad's back surgery, copay. The roof leak that needed fixing before winter. Brooke's security deposit when she moved out, then moved back, then moved out again. The dental bill mom forgot to mention. Until it reached collections. By 2 a.m., everything was there on one screen. I leaned back and stared at the bold total in the bottom right corner. $143,214. I had contributed more than my yearly salary. Over 6 years to people who had just removed me with a voicemail. But that number was not even the worst discovery. The worst part came when I opened the cloud folder where I stored supporting documents. I keep records of everything. It is a habit that makes me good at my job, and that habit saved me. I was co-signer on the mortgage. My name was on the deed as Coner. I was the sole trustee of my grandmother's trust fund. $86,000 she left for family education and medical needs. Managed by me because Grandma said I was the only one she trusted with money. Every major financial thread holding my family's life together had my name on it. They told me to leave, but they forgot I was the foundation. I pressed print. The small desktop printer hummed in the dark apartment, pushing out page after page of statements, receipts, contracts. I was not angry yet. That emotion would come later. Right now, I was simply awake. For the first time in years, completely awake. Morning arrived, gray and cold. October in Philadelphia? The kind of sky that feels like a low ceiling. I made coffee without thinking, sat at my desk, and logged into the joint checking account. This was the household account I created 2 years earlier to simplify everything. Mortgage, utilities, insurance. My income went in. Everyone else's expenses went out. The dashboard loaded. Something was different. The contact email had been changed. My email address had been replaced. In its place was one I recognized immediately. Brooks. The change was time-stamped 2 days before the voicemail. 2 days before. I sat very still and let that sink in. My sister changed the contact information on my financial account before. My mother recorded that message. The voicemail was not emotional. It was planned. I searched my inbox and found a forwarded notice from the title company handling the house. The subject line read, Beneficiary Amendment Confirmation Pending. The attached form requested my removal from the property deed. Effective upon approval. Submitted by Brooke Owens. Listed as authorized family representative. I had never authorized anyone to represent me. I had never agreed to be removed from anything. My coffee sat untouched and cold. Now I understood. Brooke did not simply want me out of the family. That was the cover story. She wanted me off the paperwork, off the deed, off the trust, off every document that proved I helped build what they lived in. The voicemail was the distraction. The real theft was happening quietly in the background. There is something you need to know about me. I work in risk analysis. I identify fraud patterns for a living. My sister had just made the worst calculation of her life. But to understand what happened next, you need to see where it really started. Not with the voicemail. That was only the ending. The beginning was quieter. The beginning was a kitchen. I was 14. Brooke was 10. Summer vacation had just started, and our parents sat us at the dining table to explain the plan. Brooke would attend art camp. For weeks, $300. I would stay home. In the mornings, I would get her ready before camp. After she returned, I would cook lunch, wash laundry, clean the house, and make sure nothing fell apart while Mom and Dad worked. They said I was mature, responsible, the dependable one. At 14, that summer became a pattern. Brooke's activities were investments. Mine were responsibilities. If there was extra money, it went to her piano lessons, her dance classes, her school trips. If there was not enough help at home, I filled the gap. When I turned 16 and got my first part-time job, my paycheck helped with groceries. When I turned 18 and earned a scholarship to college, I chose a school close to home so I could still help on weekends. When I graduated and found work in finance, my salary became the solution to every problem. It never felt forced. It felt expected. And I met every expectation. Until the night they told me I was no longer welcome. That Tuesday in October was not the moment I lost my family. It was the moment I saw them clearly. And once you see a risk clearly, you act. By noon that Wednesday, I had contacted the bank and reported unauthorized account changes. I emailed the title company requesting full documentation of the submitted amendment. I scheduled an emergency meeting with the attorney who helped establish my grandmother's trust. I did not shout. I did not threaten. I simply documented. By Thursday, the trust was temporarily frozen, pending investigation. By Friday, the deed amendment was flagged due to missing authorization. By Saturday morning, Brooke's access to the joint account was suspended. That was when the missed calls began. 4 to 6 by sunrise. A voicemail from Dad saying there must be some misunderstanding. A message from Mom saying I was overreacting. A text from Brooke asking why I was being dramatic. And finally the lawyer's message. We have a serious problem. Yes, they did. Because for the first time in my life, I was not fixing their mistake. I was protecting myself. And that is where this really begins. Asterisk. I asked if I could go to math camp. There was a summer program at the community college, free for students who had the right grades. I had the grades. I earned my spot. Mom slowly shook her head and did not even look up from the sink. Someone has to stay here for your sister. But it's free, I said again, softer this time. Vivian, you're the older one. You understand? And I did understand. I understood that Brooke got summers and I got duties. I understood that my report card was not something to celebrate. It was a prediction. It was proof of future income. It was an investment chart with my name on it. When I made honor roll that fall, Mom's only response was, "Good. Keep it up." One of you needs to make real money someday. Not, I'm proud of you. Not, you worked hard. Not even a smile. Just a reminder that I would be useful later. That same year, Brooke failed her 6th grade finals. The whole house reacted like there had been a tragedy. Dad took her out for ice cream that night. Mom sat on her bed for almost an hour, brushing her hair back from her face and whispering, "You are more than a test score, baby. You're special." No matter what. I sat in the next room with my homework open, hearing every word through the thin wall. No one had ever said anything like that to me. Not because I was failing, but because I never needed comfort. I was the dependable one, the steady one, the one who could take it. Mom told me that clearly once. I was a sophomore in college. I had called home and mentioned that I felt stressed and overwhelmed. She sighed and said, "You're the strong one, Vivian. Brooke needs me more." 7 simple words. I carried them inside my chest like a heavy stone for 10 years. My first real paycheck came on a Friday in June, the summer after I graduated. I was 21. I already had student loans, collecting interest. My starting salary was at a mid-sized consulting firm that quietly expected 60-hour work. For about 4 hours, I felt proud. Then Mom called that evening. Dad had hurt his back at work. Because he was technically listed as a subcontractor, workers' compensation would not cover it. The hospital bill was $2,000. Could I help? I sent the money that same night. I did not pause. I did not think. 3 weeks later, Brooke needed $1,200 for the security deposit on her first apartment. She was 17, almost 18, about to start cosmetology school. I asked carefully, "Does Brooke have any savings?" The silence on the phone felt sharp. Then Mom said, "She's your baby sister, Vivian. She's just starting out." How can you even ask that? I sent the $1,200. My own student loan balance was $38,000. It sat there quietly, untouched. No one asked how I planned to pay it. No one offered help. It was never discussed. The assumption was simple. Vivian is fine. Vivian manages. Vivian doesn't need help because Vivian never asks. That first year. After college, I sent home almost $14,000. Not in one payment. In pieces. A few hundred here. 1,000 there. Always something urgent. Always something temporary. Always just this once. Just this once slowly turned into every month. They never said thank you. Not once. Not by text. Not on the phone. Not in person. Not at Thanksgiving when I flew home on a discount airline and sat at a table I had helped financially repair. That year, Mom forgot my birthday. Completely. The same week, she posted an old photo of Brooke on Facebook with a long caption about how proud she was of her. 2 months later, Brooke had a birthday party at the house. I was asked to order the cake. I was also asked to pay for it. The last month of that year, I ate ramen noodles for 9 straight days because my checking account was nearly empty. I did not tell anyone. If I had, Mom would have said I was being dramatic, and I would have believed her. That part hurts the most. That I believed it. 3 years before the voicemail, Mom called with what she described as a family opportunity. She and Dad wanted to buy a house. A 3-bedroom place outside the city. Quieter street. Better schools nearby for when grandkids eventually came. She spoke about it like a dream they deserved. The reality was simpler. Their credit was ruined. Dad's medical debt. An old missed car payment. A collections notice Mom had ignored until it became a judgment. No lender wanted to approve them. So Mom said, "Just co-sign Vivian. Your credit is perfect." The house will be in my name, but you'll be on the loan and the deed. It's the family home. One day it belongs to both you girls." I said yes. I did not hire a lawyer. I did not ask for a separate written agreement beyond the official mortgage documents. Because the voice in my head, the one Mom had placed there years ago, said family doesn't need contracts. If you ask for one, you don't trust us. And if you don't trust us, you're not really family. So I signed. Co-signer on the mortgage. Cooner on the deed, Mom listed as primary. From that month forward, the $1,850 payment left my account like clockwork. Brooke moved in right away. She chose the biggest bedroom. She decorated it. She posted pictures online with captions like "Home Sweet Home." When I visited, which was rare because I was working extra hours to afford the payments, I slept. On the pull-out couch in the den, I paid for a house where I slept on a sofa. About 6 months before the voicemail, I overheard something during a family call. I had not hung up yet. Mom's voice drifted through the phone while she spoke to Brooke in the background. She did not realize I was still connected. "Once we refinance, we can take some equity out," Mom said. "Don't worry about Vivian. I'll handle her." Handle her. Like I was a bill. Like I was a small issue to manage. I said nothing. I told myself maybe I misunderstood. But my hands were shaking when I set the phone down. The spreadsheet on my screen blurred. My grandmother died 4 years ago. Lung cancer. Fast and cruel. From diagnosis to funeral was only 11 weeks. But she stayed sharp until the end. 2 months before she passed, she updated her trust. $86,000 set aside for family education and medical needs. She named one trustee to manage it. Me? Not Mom, not Brooke. Me. I remember the lawyer reading the document out loud. Mom's face went still. She did not argue in that room. Not in front of the attorney. Later, in the car, she said quietly, "Your grandmother didn't understand how things work. That money should be handled by the family together." "I am the family, Mom," I said. She did not answer. The trust stayed untouched for 3 years. Then Brooke called. She wanted $15,000 for a business idea, an online resale shop she saw someone run on social media. No written plan, no budget, just excitement and a link to a wholesaler. I said no, not to punish her, not to control her, but because the trust rules were clear: education, medical, not startup. Money for a risky idea. Brooke cried. Of course she did. She called Mom. Mom called me. "Your grandmother would have wanted to support Brooke. You're being controlling." "I'm following the trust document," I said. "That is literally my legal responsibility." Brooke did not speak to me for 2 months. During those 2 months, a cousin told me Brooke had been telling relatives that I was hiding Grandma's money and probably spending it on myself. I did not correct the story. I was too tired, too worn. Down from fighting things that should not have existed. 2 months before the voicemail, Brooke called to clear the air. Her voice sounded warm, almost kind, like the sister I remembered from when we were little. We talked for 40 minutes. At one point, she relaxed. Or maybe she simply stopped. Pretending. She said, "Honestly, Viv, I just need you out of the trust and off the deed. Then everything would be easier for everyone." She said it casually, like she was asking me to move a chair, like stepping out of my own financial life was a small favor. What she did not know was that I had been recording the call. Not to trap her. It was a professional habit. My phone automatically records long calls from family contacts with a short disclosure tone at the beginning. Brooke either did not notice or did not care. I saved the file in 3 places. The cloud, a USB drive. And I emailed it to myself with the subject line, just in case. That night, lying in bed, I kept asking myself one question. Why did Brooke want me gone so badly? We grew up in the same house. I packed her lunches when Mom worked late. I co-signed her first car loan. I covered her rent more than once. And somehow I became the villain in a story she created without telling me? Maybe you understand it better than I do. Maybe if you have ever been the reliable one, the responsible one, the person everyone leans on, you know what it feels like to be repaid with betrayal. 2 days after the voicemail, on Wednesday morning, I walked into the office looking like I had slept inside a pile of shredded paper. My head hurt, my eyes burned. Marcus Webb noticed before I even reached my desk. He was 7 years older than me, a CPA with a calm voice and a steady presence that made clients comfortable sharing their worst financial mistakes. We had worked on many audits together. He was not someone who pried into personal matters, but that morning, he did. I had gone to the break room for coffee. When I came back, Marcus was standing near my desk. Not sitting, standing, like something had stopped him halfway through walking. My laptop screen was still open. A spreadsheet filled the display. The title read, Family Financial Obligations, V. Owens. At the bottom, the total number was bold. He looked at me, then at the screen, then back at me again. His expression was not judgmental. It was careful, concerned, like he was seeing something that did not make sense. And for the first time in a long time, I felt exposed. Not because someone had discovered a secret, but because someone else could finally see the weight I had been carrying alone. Viv. His voice was quiet and steady. I don't want to step into something that isn't my place, but that spreadsheet, is that money people owe you, or money you gave away? I could have lied. I could have said it was a client document, a sample, a draft template. But I had slept maybe 4 hours in 2 days and was running on nothing but weak coffee and 10 years of pretending everything was fine. Something about the way Marcus asked, straight, calm, no judgment, no extra words, broke something open. I told him, not every detail, just the frame of it. The voicemail. Being removed from the group chat. The house. The trust. The number. Marcus didn't react the way most people usually do. He didn't gasp. He didn't shake his head. He didn't say, that's awful. He just went silent. And when Marcus goes silent, it means he's thinking hard. 10 seconds went. Bye. Then he said something that shifted the whole room inside my head. Vivian, I've stood where you're standing. Different facts, same structure. My father did something close to this when I was 29. And the thing I wish someone had told me earlier is simple. You don't need to call them back. You need to call a lawyer. He wrote a name on a small yellow sticky note and slid it across my desk. Janet Aldridge, real estate and trust attorney, Philadelphia number. I stared at the note, then at Marcus. She's very good, he added. She's the reason I didn't lose my house. I folded the note once and put it into my wallet. It stayed there for exactly 7 hours. That was how long it took me to uncover what I found next. That evening I sat at my kitchen table with every document I owned and reviewed them the way I review a client's investment file. Slow and careful, line by line, searching for anything that didn't line up. I opened the email from the title company again, the one asking for my removal from the deed. I had seen it that first morning, but I hadn't looked closely at the attachment. Now I opened it. The form looked normal. A beneficiary amendment request. At the bottom were two signature lines, one for Donna Owens, primary owner, and one for Vivian Owens, co-owner. Both lines were signed. I zoomed in on my name and my stomach turned cold. It was close. Whoever did it had studied my handwriting. The slant matched. The size was similar. Even the small tail I leave on the N in Vivian was there. But the O in Owens was wrong. I always write my capital O with a small open loop, a habit from years of signing financial papers quickly. This O was fully closed, tight and sealed. A tiny detail, the kind of thing no one else would notice. But I noticed. Someone had forged my signature to remove me from the deed of a house I had paid more than $66,000 toward. I checked the submission information on the form. Submitted electronically by Brooke Owens, authorized family representative. Submission date, 3 days before the voicemail. 3 days before I was told I was no longer welcome. I leaned back in my chair and let the timeline arrange itself. First, Brooke submits the false document to remove me from the deed. Then she changes the contact email on the joint account. Then, and only then, Mom sends the voicemail. This wasn't a family argument that exploded in the moment. This was a sequence, a process. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. Remove me from the paperwork first. Then remove me from the family so I wouldn't be watching the documents while they pushed me out. My sister didn't just betray me. She followed a plan. And in my profession, every plan leaves evidence. The next morning I called Janet Aldridge. Once I said the words forged signature and pending title amendment, her assistant transferred me. In less than 3 minutes, Janet's office was in a converted brownstone near Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia. Shelves filled with books from floor to ceiling, a glass desk reflecting the overhead lights, and a chair so straight and firm. It almost forced you to stay alert. She offered me water. I said no. I didn't want to relax. I wanted clarity. I set the folder in front of her. Everything. Mortgage agreement, deed, the forged amendment, form with both signatures, the email from the title company, the spreadsheet showing $143,000 itemized, and the bank alert proving Brooke had changed the contact email on the joint account. Janet reviewed each page the way a surgeon studies an X-ray. Slow, focused, face unreadable, glasses low on her nose. She placed the fake signature next to my real one from the original mortgage and examined them side by side. Then she removed her glasses and looked at me. Miss Owens, you have 2 problems and 1 advantage. She touched the forged document. Problem 1. Someone used your identity to commit fraud. The signature difference alone can support a forgery claim. She tapped the email from the title company. Problem 2. A refinance is pending on property you own, without your knowledge or permission. Both issues are serious. She paused. Your advantage is clear. You are the co-signer. You are the co-owner. You are the sole trustee of the family trust. Nothing moves without your real signature. Not the refinance, not the title change, not $1 from that trust. And your real signature is the one thing they do not have. Sat quietly, letting that settle, then asked the question that had been forming since Tuesday night. What happens if I simply stop? Stop paying the mortgage? Stop signing documents? Stop being the structure holding everything up? Janet folded her hands. Then everything falls under its own pressure. The bank sends notice. The refinance ends. The trust remains locked. Every financial system they rely on pauses until you decide otherwise. She let the words sit. Then she added softly, there's something else. A forged signature on a deed amendment is not just a civil issue. In Pennsylvania, it can be charged as a felony. I'm not saying you must pursue that, but you should understand you could. That night, back in my apartment, I opened the recording app on my phone. I had not listened to Brooke's call since the evening it happened 2 months earlier. At the time I labeled it annoying but harmless. Just Brooke using her gentle voice to angle for what she wanted. Now, with everything I knew, it sounded different. I put in my earbuds and pressed play. Brooke's voice filled my ears. Warm and casual. The way she speaks when she wants something but hasn't directly asked yet. I'm just saying, Viv, you're always busy. You have your job, your apartment, your whole life up there. Wouldn't it be easier if you stepped back a little? Let Mom handle the trust in the house? Honestly, if your name wasn't on it, you wouldn't need to worry about the payments anymore. That would feel like relief, right? At the time, I had thought she was awkward, not cruel. Just Brooke trying to make her world simpler. Then came the sentence at minute 32. I just need you out of the trust and off the deed. Then everything becomes simpler for everyone. I paused it, rewound, played it again. I just need you out of the trust and off the deed. Need, not want. Not, it might help if. Need. She told me exactly what she planned to do. She said it clearly into a phone that recorded the call after an app disclosure tone she either ignored or did not hear. And when I did not volunteer to disappear, she signed my name herself and had Mom deliver the eviction message disguised as a joint. Family choice. I saved the audio file again. Cloud storage. USB drive. Email to myself. 3 copies. In my family, the truth has a strange way of disappearing. I did not yet know when I would use that recording or in what setting, but I knew this much. That file was the one card Brooke did not realize I held. And I would wait for the right moment to place it on the table. Friday afternoon, I returned to Janet's office. I carried a legal pad filled front and back with notes. Janet had one of her own. Let's go through this carefully, she said. Step by step. What you can legally do, what is within your authority, and what the outcomes will be for them and for you. Step 1. Inform the bank that the deed amendment was submitted with a forged signature. Janet would draft a formal letter attaching proof. My genuine signature from the original mortgage compared with the forged one on the amendment. The bank would have a legal duty to freeze the refinance during investigation. Step 2. As sole trustee of my grandmother's trust, I had complete authority to suspend all distributions. No judge required. No approval from any family member. 1 signature from me, 1 direct call to the trust management firm, and $86,000. Would be locked. Step 3. End the automatic mortgage payments. I was the co-signer, not the primary borrower. Donna was primary. If I stopped paying, the full responsibility would return to her. Her credit history could not support the loan alone. The bank would send a formal notice within 30 days. If she could not catch up or refinance independently, the foreclosure process would begin. Step 4. Janet would send a cease and desist letter on my behalf, clearly stating that I was withdrawing from all shared financial responsibilities, effective immediately. The letter would also demand written communication only. No more surprise. Voicemails. No more quiet document submissions. Everything would be recorded, formal, traceable. As Janet spoke, I felt something unfamiliar settle into my chest. Not anger. Not revenge. Control. For months I had felt like I was reacting, scrambling, defending. Now I could see the full structure. They had relied on one assumption, that I would stay silent to keep the peace, that I would continue paying to avoid conflict, that I would protect the family image at my own expense. They believed I would choose comfort over clarity. But the numbers told a different story. $143,000 in contributions. $66,000 toward the house. $86,000 sitting in trust. A refinance attempt submitted 3 days before I was pushed out. A forged signature. An audio recording with a clear statement of intent. This was no longer emotional confusion. It was documentation. When I left Janet's office that afternoon, the city felt sharper, louder, more real. Cars moved. People crossed streets. Life continued. And for the first time since the voicemail, I was not shrinking. I was not wondering what I had done wrong. I was not rewriting childhood memories to make this hurt less. I was looking at facts. Clear, solid, provable facts. I did not call my mother. I did not text Brooke. I did not argue in the group chat. That no longer included me. Instead, I signed the authorization forms Janet prepared. I called the trust management office and confirmed my authority as sole trustee. I drafted a short email to the bank, acknowledging potential identity fraud and stating that formal documentation would follow from my attorney. Each action was calm, each step measured. There is a strange quiet that comes when you stop begging to belong, when you realize you were never meant to beg in the first place. I had spent years being the reliable one, the organized one, the one who covered gaps in balanced accounts and made sure bills were paid. I had confused responsibility with love. I had confused silence with maturity. Now I understood something simple. Being the infrastructure does not mean you must let people build over you. If they remove your name from a document without your consent, you do not argue louder. You document better. If they rewrite the story, you keep the receipts. If they think you will not act, you act calmly and legally. The recording sat on my phone like quiet insurance. The forged signature sat in a folder on Janet's desk. The trust funds waited for my instruction. And for the first time in months, I slept more than 4 hours. Not because the situation was resolved, but because the illusion was. I was no longer guessing. I was no longer hoping someone would fix it. I was no longer trying to be understanding at my own expense. They had built a plan. A neat sequence of moves meant to erase me cleanly from paper and from memory. But they forgot one detail. I keep records. And records, when handled correctly, do not disappear. Asterisk, I listened to every step, nodded at each point, and then asked the question my instinct would not release. If they lose the house, Janet did not blink. Vivian, they told you to go. You are going. You are not taking the house away from them. You are removing yourself from a loan they cannot afford without you. If that creates a collapse, then the foundation was never stable. I picked up the pen and signed the authorization letter. The pen felt heavier than it should have felt. Not because I doubted the choice, but because I understood that once that ink dried, there would be no reversing it. No quiet solution, no late-night phone call that quietly puts everything back into a drawer. This was not the sound of a bridge burning. It was the sound of me stepping off the bridge and refusing to hold it up anymore. Monday morning, I drove to the bank that managed Grandma's trust during my lunch break. The branch was calm and almost too quiet. A few customers stood at the teller windows. Soft music played overhead, something slow and forgettable. The low buzz of fluorescent lights filled the ceiling. I sat down with a trust officer named Dan, a polite man with a blue tie and a silver pen that clicked when he spoke. He clicked it nervously, over and over. I handed him my trustee documentation, my photo ID, the original trust papers, and a letter from Janet confirming my legal authority. Dan reviewed each document carefully. clicking his pen exactly 14 times. Then he looked up at me. "Miss Owens, you are the sole trustee on this account. No other signatories, no co-trustees, no secondary beneficiaries with withdrawal rights." Click. "What would you like to do?" "I would like to place a complete freeze on all distributions from this trust effective immediately. No withdrawals, no transfers, no disbursements, unless I approve them in writing." He blinked slowly. "Is there a particular reason?" "I have concerns about possible unauthorized access. I would like to review all account activity before allowing any additional movement." That was language he understood very clearly. He turned to his computer, typed for 2 full minutes, printed a form, and slid it across the desk. "I signed it. $80,000-$6,000. Locked," Don said. "You will receive a confirmation email within the hour. No one else will be able to access these funds without your written authorization and a notarized release. Thank you, Dan." I walked outside into the sharp October sunlight. The air felt cold and clean. Leaves were changing colors, orange and red, drifting across the sidewalk. I stood there for a moment and felt something I did not expect. Not victory, not satisfaction. Lightness, like putting down a suitcase I did not realize. I had been dragging through every doorway for 4 years. This was only step 1. The trust was secure. Grandma's money was safe. But the real shockwave was still coming, because when Brooke tried to access that account, and she would try, I was certain of it. She would hit a wall she could not charm, cry, or forge her way around. And that wall would have my name on it. Tuesday morning, Janet's paralegal sent 3 emails before noon. The first went to the mortgage lender, a formal notice of signature fraud on the deed amendment form. It included a side-by-side comparison of my real signature and the forged one, plus my sworn affidavit confirming that I had never authorized the change. Janet's letter requested an immediate hold on all pending transactions connected to the property until the bank completed its internal investigation. The second email went to the same lender. It notified them that I, as cosigner, was terminating my automatic payment authorization effective the next billing cycle. The letter cited my legal right to stop voluntary payments on a loan where the primary borrower, Donna Owens, had initiated unauthorized modifications without my knowledge or consent. The third email went directly to the Owens family, care of whatever email address Donna had on file, as a formal cease and desist notice. It stated in clear legal language that Vivian Owens was withdrawing from all shared financial obligations. No further payments would be made toward the mortgage, insurance, or any other joint expense. All future communication should be directed to Janet Aldrich, attorney at law. 3 emails. 12 attachments between them. 3 clicks of the send button. By 4 o'clock that afternoon, the mortgage lender had replied. The refinance transaction was frozen pending a fraud review. The deed amendment was flagged. No changes to the property title would be processed until further notice. I sat in my car in the parking garage after work. The engine was off. My hands rested on the steering wheel, trembling slightly. Not from fear. From the strange dizziness of doing something that could not be undone. In 48 to 72 hours, those letters would arrive. Mom would discover the mortgage payment did not come. The refinance would be dead. The trust would be locked. The insurance cancellation notice would show up within 30 days. Every safety net I had built under them, every invisible thread of money and signatures and dependability was gone. Not cut in anger, just released. The way you let go of a rope when the person on the other end tells you they do not need you anymore. I turned the key, pulled out of the garage, drove home through Philadelphia traffic with the windows down, cold air rushing into the car, and waited for my phone to begin ringing. It did not take long. It took exactly 51 hours. I was sitting at my desk Thursday morning reviewing a client's exposure report when my phone started vibrating. Not the short, polite buzz of a text message, but the long, demanding pulse of a call. Then another. Then another. I did not look right away. I finished my paragraph, saved the file, then turned the phone over. 19 missed calls from Mom, 8 from Dad, 14 from Brooke, 5 from a number I did not recognize. 46 calls total. The text messages were stacked like bricks. Mom. Vivian, call me right now. Mom, this is not a game. Mom, something happened with the bank and you need to fix this. Brooke. Viv, what did you do? Brooke, the refinance is frozen. They said your lawyer sent something. Brooke, call me now. Dad, honey, please call back. Your mother is very upset. Dad, we need to talk about the house situation. And then the message that made me set my coffee down and read it twice. Professional letterhead. Gregory Pratt, attorney at law, representing Donna Owens. Dear Ms. Owens, it has come to our attention that several financial actions have been taken that directly impact our clients' interests. We would like to arrange an immediate discussion to seek resolution. I read it one more time. Then I leaned back in my chair and laughed. Not a cruel laugh. Not a dramatic laugh. 46 calls go to voicemail. 46. That number kept repeating in my mind because I remember thinking that it was roughly one call for every $3,000 I had given them. Funny how we are moving forward without you turns into, please call us back immediately when the automatic payments stop. I picked up my phone, opened the email from Gregory Pratt, and forwarded it to Janet. I typed one simple line. The texts started again Thursday afternoon, one after another, spaced just enough apart to show she was pacing while typing. Viv, I don't know what you told the bank, but you need to undo this. Mom is spiraling. 12 minutes later, this is not about you and me, okay? This is about the family. You are putting Mom and Dad in a very dangerous position right now. 20 minutes after that. I never wanted any of this to go this far. You know that. We were just upset. People say things when they are upset. And finally, the message she probably believed would land hardest. You are being really, really selfish, right? Now, Vivian? Like unbelievably selfish. I understood them perfectly. I read them because I wanted to document the pattern one last time before I stopped responding to it forever. Message 1. Deflect. Bring Mom and Dad into it to trigger my guilt. Erase the forged signature, the altered email, the careful 3-step plan. Old, 4 messages, 0 apologies. No mention of the voicemail. No mention of the forged signature. Same Brooke. Same strategy. 30 seconds of silence. Disappeared. Appeared again. Are you serious right now? I almost smiled because that sentence, "Do not blame me for what happens next," was the most honest thing Brooke had said in years. She was already planning her next move, and she wanted protection in advance. The difference now was that I was planning too. Pasta, nothing complicated. Just something to keep my hands busy. When my phone rang, it showed Dad's number. I answered because the last time Dad called twice in 1 week was when he went to the emergency room. Some habits do not disappear. My full name. The tone she used when she wanted me to feel 11 years old again. The bank sent a letter about the mortgage. The insurance company says our coverage is ending. How could you do this to us? After everything we have done for you. We raised you. We supported you, and this is how you repay us. By pulling the rug out from under our feet. I took a slow breath before answering. Do not use that word with me, she snapped. Brooke would never commit fraud against her own sister. That is why the refinance is frozen. You are exaggerating. It was a paperwork issue. A paperwork issue is spelling my name wrong. You know how hard it has been since your father retired? No, Mom. I am finally untwisting it. She began to cry then. Soft at first, then louder. The kind of crying that used to make me panic and promise. She asked, Do you want us to lose the house? Is that what you want? I closed my eyes for a moment. I do not want you to lose the house. I want you to take responsibility for the loan you chose to keep modifying without telling me. We are family. We help each other. I have helped for 6 years. This is punishment. No. This is a boundary. You are being cold. I am being clear. She was quiet again. I could almost hear her recalculating. Your father cannot handle this stress. Then your father should speak to the attorney as well. You are unbelievable. No, Mom, I am just done. The words felt strange but steady in my mouth. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just true. If you want to resolve this, talk to Janet. That is the next step. And then I did something I had never done before in my life. I ended the call first.
If you like our video, then subscribe our YouTube channel.